Linh-chan and Dimi-chan craft art. Hello and welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back, Chan-chans.
Welcome back, Chan-chan. It's been a while.
It's been a long while.
A long while.
So what happened?
Life, as usual. But starting off, what are we doing today? We're making
So you're making.
I'm making a quilling, and it's Erina from Food Wars.
A.K.A. Bug Girl.
We call her Bug Girl because of her, what are those called? Tassels?
Meanwhile,
her hair tassels.
Lynn is gesturing.
Her, what are those called? Her sideburns.
Yeah. So she has really spiky sideburns, which remind me of like an ant's
mandibles. Like the mandibles, yeah.
So
that's why we call her
We'll point it out when it shows it.
Yeah.
But you're starting off with the head like usual.
Like usual. And then the body. So this is my first time recording it all on my own while Dimitri is not around to help. And also for this one,
making a prototype,
my first time I didn't start a prototype. I didn't have a prototype to model after. So,
this is it.
I had a lot of trouble. So that's why when I was doing the body, I didn't show you how to do the body, but it's pretty much the same thing. But that's because the body came from when I was experimenting. And that's, yeah, the arms.
The legs.
The legs.
Everything falling apart.
Yeah. And also, the school uniforms are very nice, like a very navy bright blue, and I didn't have that color. Well, I have the color, but it's in a 5mm thickness, and normally I use a 3mm thickness for the hair, talking about the hair, for the body. And so I had to cut them up, and it took me a long time too.
So this is something that you typically would experiment on the prototype process of like figuring out what colors.
Yeah,
like here you're not even sure. But you didn't even go with anything of the sort.
So here I'm making the skirt, and the skirt has like a plaid pattern. And I was testing it out with like using color pencils to make the pattern. But then it didn't come out as nicely or as bright. And then I decided, well, I'm just gonna use strips of paper and glue it up together instead.
And I think it's a world of difference.
Yeah, it pops a lot more.
So there you go, Chan-chans, your behind the scenes look at how Lynn thinks about making a figure.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the thing. And then I realized it didn't work. So I made some on the side. And also, this was my first time recording on my own. I had quite a bit of technical difficulty on my own, and my phone keeps on freezing on me because the temperature started to rise on the phone after sitting there for like more than an hour. So there's going to be parts of the process that gets cut off, and by the time I realized the recording had stopped, I had already moved on from that stage. So
at least we have uniform lighting now.
Yeah.
Remember that video where it just slowly faded to dark as the sunlight disappeared?
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting better, little by little.
Getting better, yeah.
It's always a learning process.
And here,
yeah.
And here I am making her
tie.
Her tie vest in the front, I guess. Her jacket.
The opening. Her
blazer, there you go. But since like I said, I don't have a prototype for this, I'm using Kaori's from Your Lie in April's like stencils, and then tweaking it around to fit Erina's uniform. And there goes my stencil.
Oh, so that actually says Erina. I did not notice that.
Yeah, I normally write the name on the stencils because they all go in one Ziploc bag in the end, and then I lose track of who's who. So then I started labeling them afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't label them before, and I was like, oh, I totally got this. I'm going to remember who's who. And then I totally forgot.
It happens.
So
tell us, what have you been up to in the past 8-9 months?
Oh,
Has it been 8-9 months?
A lot of stuff. But one of the exciting things that we did was we participated in an artist alley at a very small convention in Los Angeles.
So this was your first artist alley, right?
Yeah, to see if this would sell, the figures I'm making, or to see if it would attract any attention. and we attended a small con called Super Dimension, and this was their first time hosting an artist alley. But the convention has been around for 10 plus years now, and it's mainly for Macross fans. So, yeah.
And so we've never seen Macross. I had it in my head that Macross was a racing anime with cars. That was wildly incorrect. But we did since spend the time to watch both the latest Macross and the original Macross. And we did not get through to the series in between. Which
we watched the latest.
Yeah, we watched the newest one and the oldest one.
Yeah.
Basically. And I was quite surprised as to how well the oldest one, which was from the 80s, held up. Like, it held up quite well, I would say. Like, a lot of anime from that time period.
Just to interrupt you a little bit. So, for this part, I made a bow and I made it in 3D. But it turned out to be way too big, so I ended up having to remake a bow. But by that point, I was tired of experimenting, so I just made it a very flat piece just to get it done. So that's me cheating, or me being lazy.
Yeah, you spent a good 6 hours making this. Figure through multiple recordings.
Yeah.
And that's not including the time when you just got fed up with the camera and just made some progress behind the scenes.
Yeah, near the end, I was like, my phone keeps on freezing on me, and it was not recording. And so there are parts that I'm just like, forget it. I'm just gonna leave this part out, and I'm just gonna, snap a finger, it's done.
Minus the snap a finger effect.
Yeah.
So next time you're gonna see a nice, and that's just magically gonna be fixed. Yeah. And that'll be our technical difficulties.
So.
Edit.
Anyway, sorry for the interruption. Go ahead, continuing what you were saying. The Macross.
So yeah, that was our first convention. I was helping. Because I did not make any of these figures, but we set it up. It was quite nice. We had these videos in front, and Lynn was actually making a Macross figure, and so she was making that live. Meanwhile, we had the time lapse going, which shows it super speed, like 30 times faster, and we got a lot of crowd.
We got quite a crowd, and people were very fascinated and intrigued, I guess, because they weren't sure. And most of the time I feel like people are intimidated when it's at an artist alley. They're not sure if they should go close up to your table to take a look at something or not. And they're very hesitant about it. So having the time lapse constantly looping around showing the process sort of ease people into the what it's like to make a figure. And with the time lapse constantly on, and me sitting there physically doing a figure, everyone started to realize, oh, it's actually paper, because people didn't know it was paper from standing afar, looking at our stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you our audience knows because you've seen many of these.
Yeah.
But everyone took a double take when we said, really, this is all 100% paper.
And a little
bit
nothing
of glue. Else. And a little bit of glue.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of glue. You use a lot of glue.
A lot of glue, yes.
And this one uses a new ingredient, which you'll see later. It's a surprise.
This one, I started experiment with quilling a little bit more and using a different medium, I guess, in a way. Yeah. But you'll see at the end. So, yeah. And
I've got to say, so we've amassed quite a collection of figures. So even though we weren't recording, Lynn has still been making figures. And she's probably going to make a lot of them that she didn't record.
Probably.
Because they are cool looking. And I must say, like, watching your progress, you've gotten a lot better at making them as expressive as possible.
Yeah.
Like, for something that's very immobile and rigid, you give them a surprising amount of expression.
Yeah. Well, as an artist, I don't know if I can call myself an artist yet.
No, you definitely are an artist.
I feel like I don't want to always be making a figure that is based on someone else's work. I would like to eventually you know, create my own figures and have it, you know, represent my work, you know, because this is essentially just copying someone else's work in a way.
Oh, reinterpreting it too.
Yeah.
I mean, a copy is one thing, but reinterpreting it in a completely different medium takes more than just copying.
Yeah.
So it's inspiration at worst.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that. It's definitely an art form in its own, and you should be proud of that.
I'm very proud of myself, and I've come a long way. I mean, one day we'll show you my very first quilling that I made. It was
oh boy.
horrible, and it's so weird looking and bizarre, and everything is disproportionately to each other, but I've come a long way, and one of these days we'll do a little short video to show you our entire collection so far, and I'll show you what it started off with, you know.
So would you want to do another convention?
I would like to, but it's so competitive to get into a convention. But I would love to, because seeing the people's reaction to my work, you know, it made me really proud of what I could do, you know. And it's sort of, in a way, reassuring that I'm on the right track, I guess, in a way. So here I'm making the base, and I'm trying to match it to Soma.
Oh, he is best guy for best girl in Food Wars, right?
Well, I don't know. I'm still debating whether I'm a team Megumi or a team Erina to go with Soma. So I am not sure yet.
So you can kind of see her mandibles a little in this shot right here. She got those mandibles going. So forever in our mind, she's nicknamed Bug Girl.
Yeah. So in the future, I'm definitely gonna make a Megumi figure. And yeah.
Oh, your glue always dries so fast.
Yeah. So, coming along.
So here you're trying to give her some sort of dish to be holding, right?
Yeah, I want her to hold some sort of dish. So I'm here making a tiny little bowl so she can hold, and a little base for the bowl. So this is my first time doing some sort of food quilling. And yeah, had quite a bit of difficulties with that too. And like I said, I didn't make a prototype before recording this.
This was the prototype.
So this was the prototype, and of course we cut out quite a bit of stuff, but when I was just recording and experimenting, it was very frustrating. And on top of that, my camera keeps on, you know, not working. So that was supposed to be like the Naruto from like
from a ramen bowl.
For a ramen. Yeah, I'm making a ramen bowl in case I didn't mention it yet.
Is that an egg?
And then that's the egg.
Mushroom.
Or some sort of meat.
Oh, it's a meat?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a chashu. That makes a lot more sense. I just assumed it was a mushroom.
Yeah, sorry. It's not very clear. And then these two bottles, so this is something that we mentioned earlier, something that I'm experimenting with. This is it's acrylic resin, and it comes in two bottles. One, it's like a liquid and like a gel, and the other one's like a hardener, like a catalyst. And it pretty much you mix it up, and then over time it would start drying, and it gives it like a really nice clear liquid kind of thing, view, I guess, vision.
Becomes hard plastic essentially.
Yeah, pretty much hard plastic. And so I bought that to make it seem like, oh, she's holding a bowl of soup and there's broth in it. So
finally you're making a nice little tray.
A little tray for her ramen bowl to go on. So it's a little bit small, but I think later on it gets zoomed in. You can see the little tiny detail.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I hope everyone enjoyed. This has been Erina from Food Wars that we made, or that Lynn made.
That I made.
I didn't make anything. I made the video.
You made the video.
I hope everyone enjoyed. We hope to be doing this semi more regularly now that life has settled down a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And we'd like to get back into it. So please check back next week
Next year.
It might actually be next year.
It might actually be next year, yes.
We are at the end of the year. And like, follow, subscribe, tell all your friends.
Yes. All of that. All the above.
Bye, Chan Chans.
Bye-bye.